What's up, guys? DRock1992 here. For this next video and for my next movie review, I'm going to be talking about a movie that came out in January of this year. It's a comedy starring Robert De Niro and Zac Efron. And this movie is Dirty Grandpa. The title of this movie, if you've seen Dirty Grandpa at all, you'll know. You'll know pretty much why they named this movie Dirty Grandpa. So, this movie is directed by a guy named Dan Mazer, and a lot of you are probably thinking, who the hell's Dan Mazer? But I mention him because he's a collaborator of Sacha Baron Cohen, and he co-produced and co-wrote the films Ali G Into House, Borat, and Bruno. So that's why I mention him here. So he was responsible for the greatness that was Borat, pretty much, for me. I watched Bruno a while back, but I'll have to watch that again at some point. So, yeah, this guy was responsible for Borat, so there you go. Really good comedy movie for sure. And like Borat, this kind of is a shocking comedy for sure. The basic plot of this film is that Efron's character is a lawyer who has got his grandmother recently passes away, and his grandfather tricks his grandson into taking him down to Florida, a different place in Florida, to go party and, fuck women up and fuck women and all that sort of thing. So, again, you can kind of imagine why Dirty Grandpa would be would have that title for sure. This guy's old. He doesn't have a lot of time left sexually, I think, and all that, and he wants to move on by fucking younger women. So there you go. Just picture that for a moment. Robert De Niro fucking younger women. And excuse me for the noise, for the background behind me. It's raining really hard outside of my house, so I hope that doesn't distract you too much. So anyway, yeah, that really is the basic plot of this film, is that the grandson takes the grandfather to Florida, and they embark in a lot of wild hijinks for sure. A lot of them. So first off, you have to talk about Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro has had an amazing career in his lifetime. The first movie I reviewed on this channel was a movie of his, Casino. Goodfellas. You have movies I haven't seen, Mean Streets, and just The Godfather Part 2. He's had a legendary career, Robert De Niro has, but he has been known for taking roles that are like, what? He took that role? He just is in it for the paycheck now. That's one of his big criticisms lately. Maybe he he made this movie for the paycheck, but he was really good in the movie. I think Robert De Niro was very good in this movie for sure. Very different from what I've seen of him. Kind of hip, kind of trying to be hip, kind of with the in crowd and all that sort of thing. And again, imagine this for a second. Robert De Niro fucking older women. Or younger women, pardon me. Let that sink in for a moment. Because that's pretty much what he wants to do the entire movie. And his love interest is a younger woman played by Aubrey Plaza, who I have to really commend her. She does a great job in this movie. And she almost steals the movie. I mean, she almost steals the entire movie. She is so good in that role. I mean, just... And if you don't know, Aubrey Plaza was on television. She played a character in Parks and Recreation. I've seen a couple episodes of that show, but she was in that. She's been in a few movies and all that as well. And so, I mean, wow. This is one of the first times I've seen her in a movie and all that, and no less, television and all that, but man, oh man, she does a great job in this movie. Also, you have Zac Efron, who, you can't forget about him. He plays the straight man in this movie, but he plays the straight man pretty darn well. And then, he's a straight man who has his straight man status tested throughout the film by DeNiro's character. Also, Zoe Deutch plays a love interest of Zac Efron's character. She does a good job in the movie. Julianne Hough plays... Julianne Hough has been in a few movies and all that, and she's best known probably for Dancing with the Stars, but Julianne Hough plays Zac Efron's character's fiance, and she does a pretty good job in the limited role she has. I mean, does an alright job. You also have Jason Mantzoukas, Mantzoukas, I think is how you pronounce it. Weird last name, but he was sensational in this movie. I mean, again, the supporting characters almost stole the show. Aubrey Plaza and Jason Mantzoukas, they both shined in this movie for sure. But I mean, maybe they were bigger stars than De Niro, but I think it was De Niro, Plaza, and Mantzoukas who were very, very good in this movie. Also, Danny Glover is in this movie as well, probably best known for the Lethal Weapon movies. And he does a pretty fine... He isn't in the movie very much, but he does a pretty good job with what he has and all that. So, overall, this movie was hilarious. I really enjoyed this movie. Robert De Niro, like I said before, Robert De Niro was funny, Aubrey Plaza was hilarious, and Jason Mantzoukas was hilarious as well. They were all very good. You add in a solid performance from Efron, solid performance from Zoe Deutch, add in a solid performance from Julianne Hough and Danny Glover, and this movie's a very funny movie. Pretty much throughout. I mean, I think it was a little slow once you started, but once you really got into the movie and all that, once I really got into it, I found myself laughing a lot. There is a lot of outrageous comedy in this movie, which was like, wow, but I laughed pretty much. So, this movie's gotten a bad rap ever since it came out, which... I mean, it has an approval rating of 11% on Rotten Tomatoes, so that is one... So that tells you what you need to know there. A lot of critics panned this movie. But this movie was in my wheelhouse of comedy, This is the type of comedy that was exhibited in Dirty Grandpa is the type of comedy that I really like overall, and I have to say again, I really liked this movie. It was a very funny comedy. So I'm going to give this movie a 4 out of 5. And, I mean, this movie's a very fine film. It is so... Again, it's just ridiculously funny. So, that is it for my review on Dirty Grandpa. D-Rock 1992 out.